We all like to think we judge people on their character, on who they really are. But what if I told you that long before anyone ever gets a chance to speak, a verdict has already been reached? In this explainer, we're going to break down the incredible and, frankly, a little terrifying science of first impressions. Okay, so picture this. You walk into a room, could be a job interview, a first date, a party. You're stepping across the threshold, ready to go. You haven't introduced yourself. You haven't even had a chance to flash a friendly smile. But it doesn't matter. It's already too late. The people in that room, they've already formed an opinion about you, about how trustworthy you are, how competent you seem, and whether or not they even like you. And they did it in an instant. How instant? Try 1/10 of a second. Yeah. According to some game-changing research from Princeton psychologists, all it takes is 100 milliseconds. That's literally faster than a blink of an eye, for someone to form a lasting impression just from looking at your face. Now, you'd think that more time would lead to a more, nuanced opinion, right? Wrong. The research found that giving people more time didn't actually change their initial judgment. All it did was make them more confident in that first split-second gut reaction. The verdict is in almost immediately. So why are we wired like this? Why would our brains leap to conclusions with such incredible speed? Well, the answer, as it so often is, comes down to survival. Think about it. For our ancestors, the world was a really dangerous place. When a stranger approached, there was no time to sit down and have a chat. The brain needed an instant answer to one single critical question: friend or foe? That same high-speed threat detector is still running in our heads today. Psychologists have a really cool name for this ability: thin slicing. It's our brain's remarkable skill at taking a teeny tiny piece of information, a thin slice of someone's behavior, and basically building a whole story about them. This isn't a conscious logical thing. It's the work of our adaptive unconscious, a high-speed engine designed to find patterns in an instant. And here's the really shocking part. It's surprisingly accurate. This table is from a famous study where people rated teachers based on silent 10-second video clips. And those snap judgments lined up incredibly well with the ratings from students who'd spent an entire semester with them. Look at that, a 0.84 correlation for optimism. Our gut feelings are often picking up on something very, very real. Okay, so our brains are built for this, but we're not exactly scanning the horizon for predators anymore. So in a modern setting, like an office or a coffee shop, what are the specific cues our brain is latching onto in those first few seconds? Well, it turns out our brain runs through this rapid-fire, unconscious checklist. It's taking in a flood of data through 4 main channels, all before you even said hello. These are the big 4. Your face, which is the #1 source of data; your body language, which communicates your energy and your intentions; your voice, which signals things like confidence and authority; and even small details you probably don't think about, like your clothes or your shoes. Let's start with the face. It's the command center of first impressions. Our brains are hardwired to associate baby face features, large eyes, a rounder face, with honesty and warmth. It's an old evolutionary instinct to protect infants. Symmetry is read as a sign of good health. And get this, even your eyebrows are sending signals. One study found that people who score high on narcissism tend to have thicker, more distinct eyebrows, maybe as a way to stand out. This leads to a powerful mental shortcut called the halo effect. When our brain sees one positive trait, like attractiveness, it basically puts a halo over that person's head and assumes other positive traits exist too. We unconsciously think, hey, this person looks good, so they must also be smart and kind. It's a huge and often unfair shortcut. So we've covered what we judge and why we evolved to do it, but now let's go a little deeper. Let's look at the actual mechanics inside our brain that make these first impressions so incredibly hard to shake. So our brain kind of operates on 2 parallel systems. There is system 1, the fast one. That's your gut feeling, your intuition. It's automatic, emotional, and it is always on, running in the background. Then you've got system 2. That's the slow, logical, analytical brain you use to solve a math problem. The crucial thing to know is system 1 always gets a head start. And that head start can lead to something called an amygdala hijack. When you see a new face, the information takes a shortcut straight to your amygdala, your brain's emotional alarm system. This triggers an immediate gut feeling, like or dislike, trust or distrust, milliseconds before the detailed info even gets to your rational, thinking brain. The emotional verdict is in before the logical trial has even started. And once that snap judgment is made, another mental glitch kicks in to protect it. It's called confirmation bias. If your gut feeling tells you someone is untrustworthy, your brain will then actively hunt for evidence to prove itself right. It'll notice every shifty glance and totally ignore every kind gesture. It turns our first impressions into self-fulfilling prophecies. Now, here's a fascinating little twist. While we are busy judging others, we are often our own worst critics. Research has found something called the liking gap. After a conversation, we consistently believe the other person liked us less than they actually did. We're busy replaying our own awkward comments, but they probably walked away with a much more positive impression than we give ourselves credit for. This all might sound a bit bleak, like it's out of our control, but it's not. Understanding the system is the absolute first step to influencing it. So how can we use this science to our advantage and consciously craft a better first impression? The research points to 3 key strategies. First, and this is the most important one, lead with warmth, not competence. Second, project genuine confidence. And third, consciously relax. Remember, they probably like you more than your inner critic is telling you they do. This quote from social psychologist Susan Fiske is absolutely critical. In any new interaction, the brain's first question is always about intent. Is this person a friend or a foe? That's warmth. Only after trust is established does the brain move on to assess skill or competence. So a simple, genuine smile is way more powerful in the first 5 seconds than rattling off your credentials. Let's be really clear about this. You can't turn this system off. It's a fundamental part of our evolutionary hardware. It's an ancient process running on modern software. Snap judgments are going to happen, whether we like it or not. But that's not a reason for despair. It's a reason for empowerment. You can't stop the judgment, but you absolutely can influence the data that informs it. You can control the signals you send through your expression, your posture, and your tone. So the final question isn't whether you'll be judged, but what story you'll choose to tell in that first critical 1/10 of a second.